Hello, my name is Shannon Robinson, and I've worked with the Office of Experiential Learning for the past year. This is a list of tips that I have made on how to make a professional resume. So why is it that students need to have a resume? Well, let's consider summer jobs, internships, and grad programs. You need to be able to detail your relevant skills, strengths, experience, and interests in a way that will make people want to offer you an interview, whether it's for a job or, like I said, for grad school. Other things to consider is that your resume isn't your only first impression anymore, and you should consider making a LinkedIn account and maybe going over your social media because Google searches are quite common in the hiring process, so having a professional presence online is really important. Important factors to double check when you're writing a resume is that it's easy to read. First and foremost, you want it to be organized and consistent. Make sure it's proofread so there are no spelling errors, no more than 2 pages long, and that it's a PDF file because that's universally accessible by all different types of computers. You want to focus on how, not just the duties of a job. You want to make sure that you're emphasizing the skills that were required to do the job. And you want it to be targeted, so really research the position and update your resume whenever you are applying to a new job. The most common resume sections, you have your personal profile, skills summary, which is important to have at the top because the most attention that an employer gives to a resume is to the top 1/3. Education, work experience, volunteer experience, activities and interests, and awards and scholarships. So the sections that you will use all depend on your objective, your experience, and the type of job you're applying for. If you have way more volunteer experience than work experience, well, it's obviously going to be more of a focus on your resume. Things like interests will actually drop off of your resume as you obtain more relevant skills. So here's an example resume. So this example shows, first and foremost, we have a large header at the top with the contact information very visible. The skills that I was talking about, that to have at the top, it helps to really emphasize that you are the right person for the job because you have these certain set of skills. Where those skills come from will be detailed both in the cover letter and further down in the descriptions of your experiences. Having a consistent layout, so as you can see between education and work experience, the title is bolded, the date is in line with the title, and the location is listed below in italics. So that's something that will remain the same throughout the entire resume. And also talking in present tense for experiences such as whether it's work or volunteer that you are still doing is really important. So having that listed there as my experience is currently still running, that's also one way that you can express your education as the start date of your education, so September 2019 to present. That could be what your date looks like up in your education section. Mine just says May 2019 because that's when I graduated. So now this is further down on the resume. So as you can see, there's no I statements throughout the resume, and that's really important to note because you want to make sure that you are talking in first person, but you do not have the pronoun I. So you can just drop that right off. This experience here is past tense because it's something that ended, and it's also important to note that it is listed below the experience that I'm currently still working because everything on a resume has to be done in reverse chronological order. So if you had a summer employment, that would be something that you would want to express as seasonal next to your dates. And you also want to integrate language used from the job description right into the descriptions of your experience. That's because some companies that are really large businesses will actually use computer software to sort through which resumes they even look at. And if you aren't using language that they feel is important for the job that they're hiring for, they won't even look at your resume. So looking at the volunteer experience, you can still see that the format is remaining consistent throughout. For anything that you had a larger role in, as I said before, if you were really involved with volunteer work versus instead of your actual paid work experience, that would be something you would want to elaborate more so on. If you ever did something where it was only one day or a weekend that you did it, you can express that one-time event as just the month and the year instead of having a start date and an end date. And then last on the resume is the certificates and achievements. So for this section, you want to make sure that the name of the certificate that you have received is very clearly displayed, as well as the date that you received it. And yet again, you can see they are ordered in reverse chronological order. So do's and don'ts when building a resume. So you actually don't have to include your references unless they're directly requested when submitting a resume. That's simply because it's understood that that's something that you provide in an interview. And so you can just wait and have a paper copy ready for then. You don't need your age, a photo, personal details that don't match up with any jobs that you've worked in the past or anything like that. And don't have your reason for leaving a past job listed on your resume either, because you want to keep things positive on your resume. But things that you definitely need to include are a tailored cover letter in the same document as the resume, unless otherwise specified, and type in at least 10-point font, because anything smaller than that is much too hard to read and people just won't read it. And so the last thing that you want to make sure that you are considering when building your resume is that you are using those words from the job description, as I said before, but also using this table that I'm about to show you that talks about your technical skills, problem solving, communication, consulting, and leadership skills. Those are the types of skills that no matter what kind of a job you have worked or volunteer experience that you have done, you likely have covered one of these topics. And so this helps to kind of pick and choose words that sound much more professional, and also kind of triggers any memories that you have of, oh yeah, I actually did do something that required that I analyze the situation, or I had to discuss with a group, or you can just pull from this table. It makes things a lot easier. Don't forget to check out the other videos that we have if you're looking to write a cover letter, make a LinkedIn profile, go over grad school applications, working from home, or interview skills. We have tons of resources. Just make sure to check them out. Thanks for watching. Bye.